Welcome to International Trade and Info Channel, your gateway to mastering international trade. Whether you're a trader, exporter, or contractor, we bring you the insights and strategies to expand your global reach. Subscribe and unlock the potential of global markets.
All right, you're welcome back to my channel. So good to have you here. So now we are reviewing Incoterm 2020, and we have done a kind of review on the number of times that Incoterm has been reviewed ever since the commencement, and then we are discussing 11 rules that guides buyers and sellers in the international market. And as a trader, exporter, and importer, you need to familiarize yourself with these rules so that you can have a kind of smooth discussion or have a good deal when you are discussing international international trade, or you want to have a negotiation with your business partner abroad. So talking about which terms to use to make everything very easy for you, or for you and your partner to have an agreement. And what are these rules? Incoterm's rule just there to guide all the parties involved in international markets. And I'll explain what X Works is all about. You can see it up here. You can go back to it and listen to that video again if you have not listened to it before. And we are currently discussing free carriage, which is always structured to be FCA. And then under this rule, shipping terms for FCA Incoterm 2020 for free carrier, the seller is responsible for export clearance and delivery of goods to the carrier at the main place of delivery. So what do I mean by that? All what seller is expected to do is to deliver the goods to the carrier. And who is carrier? Carrier can be a person, can be a company, that undertakes carriage, like airline, like trucking company, like railway, like shipping company. These are carrier. But in all, what will guide parties involved here is the sales contract. Whatever has been agreed upon and has been settled or put down in the sales contract is binding between the sellers and the buyer. So, unless otherwise agreed upon, the seller is only responsible for loading the goods if the seller, if the seller's place of business is the named place of delivery. Let me take that again. So, unless otherwise agreed upon, the seller is only responsible for loading the goods if the seller's place of business is the named place of delivery. So, every other thing now follows suit. Now, I want to move on now to tell us the seller's responsibility and the buyer's responsibility as regards FCA, which is free carrier. Seller's obligation as regards free carrier. The first one is that seller needs to make the goods, the commercial invoice, and documentation required available. That's the first thing that seller needs to do. Seller needs to make available. The second point is export packages and marking. Seller needs to make those goods ready for export. That is export packing and marking. It's all about. So the third one is export license and custom formality. So for any shipment to happen, especially when it is a free carrier. It is seller that is responsible to, as far as the consignment is all about, the seller is expected to take every licensing that is required, and then custom formalities, every custom license, any custom certificate that is required, as far as that consignment is all about, is the seller that will go ahead and procure and get all those licenses or documentation, so that at every stage of shipment, whether there's any checking, whether there's a need to check one document or the other, the goods will also say through. The fourth one is pre-carriage to terminal. So, when we talk about pre-carriage to terminal, seller is responsible. Whether he has sourced for the goods, or at his or whether the goods are from his factory or warehouse. Moving the goods to the terminal, to the airport or seaport, the seller will be responsible for that. So the fifth one is delivery to the named place of delivery. So whatever the named place of delivery is, or has been agreed on the sales contract, that's what seller will definitely play with and deliver at the named place of delivery. The named place of delivery can be the port, of the sellers in the port in seller's country. You understand? So it depends on whatever has been agreed. And the sixth point or obligations of the seller is cost of pre-shipment. Pre-shipment inspection will be actually done by A. Seller will take every inspection. You will pay for every inspection certificate that needed to be carried out on the goods, so that it will be acceptable, or the specification will be checked, by an independent third party, so that at the point of when the goods is exported, they can also confirm it anyway, and it will be acceptable. Then the seventh responsibility or obligation of the seller is proof of delivery. When the seller has delivered the goods at the place of delivery, or the named place of delivery, it is expected of seller to provide the proof that he has actually delivered at the place of delivery. So right from there, we move on to buyer's obligation. So because when the buyer's obligation ends, that's where where the seller's obligation ends. That's where the buyer's obligation starts. So the first thing that the buyer needs to do is to make payment for the goods once he has been able to do what, receive the proof of delivery of the goods. You go ahead to make payment for the goods, and then just as it has been agreed or stated in the sales contract. The second one is to unload from the means of transportation. Unloading it from the means of transportation that the buyer has used, just for it to be loaded properly into the main carriage, and every cost that comes with this will be borne, or is the buyer that will also dispense or be charged with this. Then loading charges, just like what I mentioned, when they are loading or unloading, and the buyer has already taken possession of the good, he will be the one that will be responsible for the loading charges and then main carriage. For FCA, the movement the seller dropped or delivered the goods at the name place, you know, take for instance, a Papa Pot. So every need or every subsequent step to take the goods to the warehouse of the buyer is the buyer that will be responsible, including mail carriage. So the fifth one is discharge and onward carriage. Discharge and onward carriage means when at the port of discharge, you understand? Because after the main carriage, the next destination will be port of discharge. So buyer will be responsible for any cost that has to do with discharge and onward carriage to his factory or offices or warehouse. So the sixth point is that import formalities and duties will be paid by the buyer. So once the goods has been delivered and moved to his own country, so every clearance, every duties that needed to be paid, the buyer will pay. And then the last one, which is the seventh one, cost of pre-shipment inspection, that relates to the imported goods in the buyer's country. Is the buyer that will make sure all these are in place. So it is very important. Like I always call this free carrier term or shipping term, like is 50-50. The buyer has 50 and then the seller has 50-50 responsibility. So once everybody is agreed on these terms, and then execution will be very easy and seamless. So just like every other one that I've mentioned, I will also show you how this played out in a summary, in a diagram, and we see on the, All right. So, in summary of FCA, which is free carrier, you can see just like X works, the seller's risk, the seller's cost, and then you can see the buyer's risk and the buyer's cost. Just as indicated here, the seller's risk and cost extended to the carriage not loaded. That means from seller's location, sellers can also go ahead to export formalities and fees, every other thing that we need to make the goods be ready for export, and also load those goods on the carrier. And immediately after that, to deliver at the name place, buyer's risk and cost or responsibility begins, and then for all the way to loading alongside vessel, to onboard ship or vessel, to main carriage on ship or vessel, discharge at the port of destination, and delivery at the main place or terminal. Onward carriage not unloaded, import duties and formalities for import in the import country, and then finally to the buyer's location or warehouse. So in summary, this is the what the FCA is all about. In a pictorial form, you can just look at it, and then even as a business person, you can just briefly look at this, and then you understand what you need to explain or negotiate with your partner whenever you have any transaction to be exported or to be imported. So I think this information is very vital. Please, I want you to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. You know, and so that every other day I upload a video that is helpful like this, you'll be the first person to be notified. You understand, and it can also help you process every other export proceed, every export transaction that you have. If you are so busy, you don't have so much time to, at every time, I mean, every angle that you want us to help, you can reach me. You understand? Just check the description below. You will see the details to reach me and my team so that we can be of help to you. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video while we are still considering Incoterm 2020 rules. Stay in charge of your trade